What's good, YouTube? Sensational Sincere here with another video for this vendor reset. Let's get right into it. Head over to Camp Hudson. Head over to the gear vendor here, and they have a prototype performance mod, 7% Seeker Mine explosion radius. This is maxed out, and I don't use Seeker Mines myself, but if I were to use that Seeker Mine explosion radius mod, I would definitely use it with Demolition Expert or Chain Reaction. For our next gear item, head over to the base operations. Head over to the Dark Zone gear vendor, and here they have a small grip. It has 17% crit hit damage, 4.50% reload speed, and 2.50% stability. The small grips that I use have 19% crit hit damage and 5% reload speed. So with this 17 and 4.50, I think this is a decent roll. We're still at the base operations. Head over to the gear vendor that's in the very front, and we have a prototype stamina mod. It has 260 stamina and 2.50% exotic damage resilience. We're still at the base operations. Head over to the special equipment vendor, and here we have an MP5. Those that like to run the MP5, they have a ST version of it. And here's one that's rolled with 270 gear score, 2.50% crit hit chance. It has competent, skilled, and unforgiving on it. If it was me, I'd roll off the skill to put something else that I would want. Also here at the special equipment vendor, we have a reckless chest piece. The gear score is 282, armor 1981. It's rolled for stamina. It has 1229 of that, and it has skill haste, all resistance, and the minor attribute. We ain't really worried about that. If it was me running this, I would probably definitely put on health on this particular chest piece. If I wanted a reckless chest piece, I'd roll off that all resistance and put health. Also here at the special equipment vendor, we have a specialized backpack. I think it's pretty good rolled here. 275 gear score, 1300 armor. The electronics on it is 1253, and it has stability and ammo capacity. I would probably put, if I was to run this bag, I would put skill power on it or health, whichever one I feel like using. Also here at the special equipment vendor, we have a prototype performance mod. It has 5% ballistic shield damage resilience. This is a max roll one for those that like to run those defense builds. With the special equipment vendor, we have a SR7 suppressor. It has 19% crit hit damage, 2.50% stability, and 2% accuracy. Our next gear item, head over to the cavern. Head over to the gear vendor, and here they have a tactical vest with Vigorous on it. Its gear score is a 267. The armor is 1851. The stamina on it is 1130, and it has 8% skill haste, 5% enemy armor damage, and 55% ammo capacity. I would definitely use this, and I would roll off that enemy armor damage and put health on this chest piece. For our next gear item, head over to Kerman Station. Here at the weapons gear vendor, we have a small grip red. It has 18% crit hit damage, 4% optimal range, and 2.50% stability. For our next gear item, head over to Camp Clinton. Head over to the special equipment vendor, and here they have a Tyrant suppressor. It has 7% crit hit chance, 6% headshot damage, and 2% accuracy. This gear item, head over to Dante's Run, and here they have at the gear vendor a prototype stamina mod. It has 266 stamina and 3% skill haste. For our next gear item, head over to Autumn's Hope. Here, head over to the gear vendor, and they have a prototype performance mod with 4% Seeker Mine damage, and this is max roll. Next gear item, head over to the Southpaw. Here, the gear vendor has a prototype firearms mod. I think it's decent rolled. It has 260 firearms and 3% skill haste. Next gear item, head over to the Crypt. Here, the weapons vendor has a extended magazine. It has 120% magazine size, 3% crit hit chance, and 5% rate of fire. I think this is a really good roll for your ARs and your SMGs. I use these, as a matter of fact. Mine just has like 121 magazine size with crit hit damage, and the rate of fire might be a little bit higher, like 5.4%, 5.5, something like that. But I would definitely be purchasing these right now. I can use these, so I would definitely get these if you need boosting your magazine size. For our next gear items, head to the West 31st checkpoint in the Dark Zone. Here at the Dark Zone vendor, we have a tactical mask with Tenacious on it. It has a 278 gear score, 1000 armor. It's rolled for firearms. It has 1258, and the major attribute is health on kill. We also have a prototype performance mod, 2% post crit hit chance, And we also got an Omega rifle suppressor for those that love to run this on their ARs and they land. All headshots are really good at landing headshots with their ARs. This particular suppressor has 18% headshot damage, 4% crit hit damage, and 2.50% crit hit chance. Let me head over to West 34th Street checkpoint in the DZ. The Dark Zone vendor here has a prototype performance mod, 7% ballistic shield health for those that like to run that defense build. Next gear mod, head over to West 39th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod, a 3.50% ballistic shield damage mod for those ballistic shield guys that love to run that build. I think the max roll for this is 4% if I'm not mistaken. For our next gear items, head to West 46th Street checkpoint in the DZ. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a tactical vest with Vigorous on it. The gear score is 273. The armor is 1857. It's roll for firearms. It has 1235. The attributes are skill haste and exotic damage resilience and ammo capacity. We also have a prototype firearms mod. It's kind of low. It's nothing that I would probably run, but if anybody is just really desperate to have that crit hit chance on there, because that is max roll to 1%. Here's one with firearms on it, you know, and it's at 250. The max is 267. I thought I mentioned it though. And then we got a compensator here, suppressor. It has 13.50% stability, 5% optimal range, and 2.50% crit hit chance. This is probably something I would never run either, but I thought I'd mention it because some people might want to have that extra stability on their weapon. For our next gear items, head over to West 53rd Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone vendor has a prototype stamina mod. It has 265 stamina on it and 2.50% exotic damage resilience for those that need that extra exotic damage resilience to fight off that bleed. Also, we got a Tyrant suppressor with 7% crit hit chance, 2% stability, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear items, head over to East 64th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. And here, the Dark Zone gear mod vendor has a prototype performance mod with 6.50% support station duration for those reclaimer builds. For our next gear item, head over to East 61st Street checkpoint in the DZ. Here at the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor, we have a Omega rifle suppressor, 18% headshot damage, 5% optimal range, and 2.50% crit hit chance. And then also we got a 5.52 hollow sight. It has 7% crit hit chance, 2.50% stability, and 4% optimal range. Gear item, head over to East 58th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. Zone gear vendor has an operator mask with refreshed on it. It has a gear score of 272, 935 armor, is roll for electronics, 1265 with health on kill. We also got an inventive backpack. I've tried these out before, and in case anybody else want to try it out, the Spec Ops pack gear score has 268 gear score, 1158 armor, 1180 electronics, and it has stability on it. For our next gear items, head over to Park Ave checkpoint in DZ8. Dark Zone weapons vendor has a AUG A3 Para XS. For those that like to run the AUG, it's got a nice little roll on it. It has a 279 gear score, 19% crit hit chance, and it has talents competent, deadly, and adept. For our next gear items, head over to East 34th Street checkpoint in the Dark Zone. Here, the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 1.50% pulse crit hit damage. The max is 2%. Figured I'd mention that. And then we also got a muzzle brake here. Figured I'd mention this for those that want the extra stability on their weapon. 13% stability, 5% optimal range, and 3% crit hit chance. For our next gear items, head over to 5th Ave checkpoint in the DZ. Vendor has a prototype performance mod with 3.50% sticky bomb damage for those that love to run those sticky bomb builds. I believe the max is 4%. Gear items, head over to the safe room in DZ2. Gear vendor has another operator pack with inventive on it. It has a gear score of 261, armor 1141, stamina 1116, with crit hit damage and disrupt resistance. Like I said earlier, for the last one I mentioned, I've tried this before, so I'm just mentioning just in case somebody want to try it. Me personally, I would probably run it on like a healer build, because you're pretty much going to stay at full health most of your time. So thought I'd mention it. For our next gear items, head over to DZ8 Safe Room. Here, the Dark Zone gear vendor has a gunslinger vest with rapid on it. The gear score is 267. The armor is 1780. It's roll for firearms 1162 with skill, haste, and health and ammo capacity. And then also we got a tactical pack with inventive on it. The gear score is 272 with 1251 armor. The electronics is 1206, and it has health and ammo capacity. Head over to DZ9 Safe Room. Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has a CQB-SS scope ×8. The stability on it is 13%, 3% crit hit chance, and 4% crit hit damage. It's probably something I would never use, but I mention it just in case for those who just want that extra stability on their weapons. I'm mentioning this for y'all. So this is it for the gear vendor reset for this week. I appreciate the comments from the last video. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. If y'all haven't, hit that like button, smash the like button for me. Subscribe if you hadn't too. I appreciate that support. And shoot me some messages for the comment section. I appreciate that. And I'll see y'all with the next one. All right, take care. Peace.